Shell's annual shareholder meeting in London descended into chaos with more than an hour of climate protests delaying the start of a meeting in which investors in the oil company rejected new targets for carbon emissions cuts.
Here's a summary of the article.
Shell's annual shareholder meeting in London descended into chaos with more than an hour of climate protests delaying the start of a meeting in which investors in the oil company rejected new targets for carbon emissions cuts. The FTSE 100 oil company faced a shareholder vote backed by big pension funds and investors to set carbon emission reduction targets for 2030, while dozens of protesters called for an immediate end to fossil fuel production. Climate protests have become a regular feature of annual meetings in recent years, with campaigns focused particularly on banks such as HSBC and Barclays that lend to fossil fuel projects as well as oil companies including Shell's rival BP. Wael Sawan, in his first annual meeting as Shell's chief executive, and Andrew Mackenzie, Shell's chair and the former chief executive of the mining company BHP, defended the company repeatedly against accusations that it was not switching from fossil fuels to renewable energy quickly enough. Mark Van Baal, the founder of Follow This, told the meeting that shareholders voting in line with company management enable Shell to continue to cause climate breakdown and jeopardize the long-term future of the company. In response to the Follow This resolution, Sawan, a Lebanese Canadian, cited a proverb to argue that pushing Shell to cut its production of oil and gas would be premature and would result in other fossil fuel producers filling the gap. A Shell spokesperson said, "We respect people's right to express their point of view and welcome any constructive engagement on our strategy and the energy transition." However, yet again protesters have shown that they are not interested in constructive engagement. "We agree that society needs to take action on climate change." Last year, 3 people were arrested after Shell was forced to pause its AGM and environmental protesters chanted, "We will stop you."
This post received a score of 20,000, with an upvote ratio of 96%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Seems like the movement to appeal to the climate conscience of shareholders is stuck at convincing just 20% of shareholders.
The idea that you can convince money-grubbing capitalist-class assholes to part with even 1 cent for the greater good is the most naive nonsense I've seen in quite a while. We need to collectively grab our governments by the fucking balls and make them put the screws to these shitty megacorps ruining our environment if we want anything resembling a chance at mitigating the worst parts of climate change. That is to say, we're doomed.
I can't believe it. This time I really believed corporations were going to put the environment ahead of shareholder profits and take decisive action.
Never before has this been more accurate.
It might be accurate, but that executive in the torn clothing is going to have their own damned sanctuary with more than enough private security to keep away any rioting climate refugees. Life is truly not fucking fair.
Yeah, they're gonna have to put some next-level security systems in there, because that just looks like the security will kill them once they piss them off enough and become glorified warlords instead. This reminds me of that great story from WWZ. So good.
How is this a choice they have? They should not have a choice to make these decisions that are destroying our fucking habitat.
Government is supposed to be their check.
Instead, people in the government just keep taking checks from them. And the voters seem too gullible and can't be relied upon to make the right decisions.
But they have an ad running about transitioning to renewable energy. I don't know what to believe anymore. If that wasn't obvious.
I mean, their adverts were so convincing. It's like they never touched a drop of oil in their life.
To be fair, they have actually invested quite a lot of money to renewable energy projects, which is something I guess. But they are not transitioning, just diversifying their portfolio along with saving face. As long as there is no incentive to do more, they will do the bare minimum.
Greater than a Shell spokesperson said, "We agree that society needs to take action on climate change." Oh, Shell wants the society to take action instead?
I guess that the action society should take is to drag them kicking and screaming from their ivory towers then.
When corporations go against embargoes, they get sanctions. Why are they getting a pass if they go against climate targets? Or rather, why the fuck aren't climate targets enforceable yet?
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.